Right guys, Gaffed is back and I've had a few little thinks about the exploding deck. Now, do you remember these things? This is a cap detonator from the pen. When you pull the lid off, the cap detonates. So I was thinking maybe I could have a cap detonator in here instead of flash paper and all that electronics, but how would I trigger the banger? Now I did buy some electronic switches, but they weren't strong enough. There's quite a lot of pressure on this spring and they would not retract to let it off. So I'm thinking about going down the right DIY angle. Now when I pulled it out of the pen, this was what was locking it into the pen, this little piece of metal. So I'm thinking I could have this trigger open, this little piece of metal wedged under the end of the trigger and onto, oh, let's get it under the trigger. Oh god, push that down. Right, that could be loaded like that in the deck and literally have something like a cocktail stick or something. You'd have a little slit here with this stick going through. That would obviously go through this metal plate. The cocktail stick or whatever it would stick into this side of the deck. So you could trigger it by having a little slit here, and literally when your thumb is here, so the cocktail stick needs to be like here, when your thumb is here you can literally pull that off, it would trigger that and set the banger off. So I mean, this is why you guys love me, because this is about as DIY as you can get. It's just basically looking in cupboards trying to find something to let it off. Now I'd love to have a switch, but there is quite a lot of pressure. There's quite a lot of pressure on this little spring, so having something hold that down and then retract. The things I've bought, I expect I've spent, don't tell the missus, about 40 quid on tiny little, they're not switches, are they? I suppose they are switches or whatever, to try and release that with an electronic device, but I can't find anything that's strong enough, small enough to fit in a deck, and strong enough to actually retract from that. So I'm going to go down the DIY route, playing cards, kids toy detonators and bloody cocktail sticks. I mean, it's going to work, innit? Because those little caps, they can be loud, but I'd love that to be electronic. How can I trigger that electronically? This. Now, I love me DIY, and I was almost thinking maybe I could hold this trigger back, tie a little piece of cotton around the trigger. This is the sort of shit I think about. A little piece of cotton around that trigger to hold it, and then have the arc lighter to burn the bloody cotton to let off the banger. But that's, come on Gaffer, that's a bit too much, isn't it? So if anybody else can think of a way I can trigger this with a little switch that's big enough to fit in here, let me know. But yeah, I'm going to go down the cocktail stick route. Cheers.